All right, welcome. Good to see you back here. Couple of lessons I learned the hard way from this project. First of all, you should always just overestimate how much time something's gonna take, and then probably add a couple more days on top of that. This definitely was it was something. So I have worked on this a lot outside of the stream because I was running into quite a few issues with the way I had set it up initially, and then choosing this new layout was very much very short-sighted of me, especially since I'm not an 11T expert by any means. And so but I have kind of, there are some new things here, some things that are finally working. The numbers for sure are not, and I still am not sure how to get the correct numbers to show up. Like on quick tips, there's obviously more than 4. Troubleshooting has 3, so it says 12, shows 3. I don't know, I'm not sure where that's going wrong. So we'll see if we can fix that. Probably not on the stream, and if I figure that out, maybe I'll just do a shorts or something on that because it has been driving me nuts. So anyway, there are some things I had to work out because this was very much not set up to support the layout that I have chosen. Principally was this whole sub nav idea. So we have our main nav on the left and a sub nav on the in the middle here, and I didn't really think this one through, because it's easy to have just your nav right here, kind of like a header nav that's standard on any site. But when you have a sub nav, you need to make sure that that is input on every single page. For example, right now I'm just on /resources/tips because that's what I'm on quick tips, right? But what if I click on this first link? Now I'm on a totally different page, because again, this is not an app, this isn't some JavaScript framework, whatever. This is like actual files, kind of old style, like web, right? So I am on /resources/tips/fix blue links. And that means that the fix blue links has to have the exact same subnav as all of its siblings. So if I click on how to write an email right here, it also has to have the same subnav as well as the nav. And so there's 2 active, we have quick tips and this current one. So there's 2 active states that have to be kept track of. And anyways, so it was a little bit more, a lot of work, and I had to hack some things. I'm not really pleased with how I had to do this. So, but it's the best I could do. It's kind of like we've got like a content section. I had to redo my base.html, make a block content that includes this content file, which is over here, and then that has this little subnav thing, and then finally the content. But then the subnav, I had to assign a totally brand new, I don't know why I had to do this. I think it was subnav group, so I had to go in. I also had to move all of my files I had a content folder that was being ignored basically, but then populated in by tags or the collection. And so now instead I've put them all in their respective folders. So that includes an index now instead of an advanced.html. It's index inside of the advanced folder. Put all of my content markdown files in there, and I had to add the subnav group on every single file. So that was fun. Not really, but it was the best I could do as far as I could figure out what was going on. So there's just a little background on kind of what's gone on behind the scenes. But today I want to let's just bust this out. I really want to get this live. I didn't pull this up. Let me see if I can pull this up really fast. So this is kind of where we came from right here. This is the live site, the templatized.email, and there's obviously, we've got some like breaking stuff here with the text, but yeah, it's not very good, and I absolutely hate this resources page. It's like terrible. So I'd really like to be able to make this site like accessible in even just like the slightest way. Not even talking about like making it useful. Just like basic accessibility here. Like, can I even see this? Just, I don't know, without any screen readers or anything else involved. Like, it's just a mess right now with. So anyway, we'll work on that later. Cause but I do want to get this out the door. So I do want to get this, in working order so I could upload this today. So that's kind of the goal with this live stream, is to get our super baseline just out the door and overwrite this awful site that is currently up there. And yeah, we might revisit this to go over like actual accessibility, make sure that it's actually useful for people, and kind of go over some of, because I think this is it's a good design to see where designers make mistakes too. So that was another lesson that I learned, is to cool it on the frustration with designers sometimes, because I mean, I have a BFA in graphic design. I know obviously how to make these designs that seem like kind of cool and stuff, like conceptually, but once you go to build it, it's like, oh, this is a nightmare. So anyway, this is where we started, right? This is our Illustrator file. And so there's just a couple of little details that I wanted to work out. And we'll just kind of create our little design system, kind of call it good. And then, maybe in future live streams, we can pick it apart for accessibility, for SEO, for mobile, and that kind of a thing. So let me know if you're interested in that kind of a future live stream here. But I might wrap up this series at least with just this desktop version, and get these little elements done. So one thing I did do was, I was looking at this and I thought, you know what, this text needs to be a little bit better handled. So I changed this to actually Georgia, which is actually one of my favorite fonts as far as a serif font. So sans serif would be this up top. We don't have any little decorations on the ends of our letters, right? But right here you can see it's got little flags and little spurs, things like that just kind of make it looks a little bit more old style, because this is like sans serif is very much a modern style of fonts. So this is Helvetica up top for the headers, and then the body text is this older font, Georgia. It's absolutely beautiful, but I think it promotes better readability in this context. And it's also one of my favorites for using in emails, because email development, you can throw in as many custom fonts as you want. That doesn't mean that that's what the person receiving the email is going to see. So there's like 7-ish safe fonts, if you will, for email. And that's why I thought it'd be a cool nod to just be like, all of the fonts here on this website are email friendly, because this is an email resources website, right? So I thought it'd be a fun little subtle touch that probably nobody will notice, but that's okay. So I wanted to do that, and I'll keep everything else in this Helvetica, and then I have a couple of little just like things to just add as part of our design system, so that when the content needs these kind of little button, maybe it's a downloadable thing, maybe we've got like a featured article or something, and then maybe an external featured link. I want to be able to have these in my toolkit so that they're ready, and that's kind of the point of a design system, right? So that we have these little components that are ready for us to use when the content calls for them. So that's what I kind of want to focus on right now. So let's jump into the code. All right. Um, first things first, let's get that body text figured out. So, yeah, let's go here because I cannot remember. All right, well, this one's good because it's got some text here. Let's inspect it. I don't remember if we had something super specific. So body. Okay, class of body. Okay. Oh, sorry, you can't see where I was highlighting here. There we go. So in my dev tools, I'm seeing that I have a class of body. That's this, and yeah, I think that should be perfect to start off with. So what I'm gonna do is, and this should be correct. It looks right to me. So I am gonna just put on a. These are all going to be paragraph tags, so we could just do and p and just select all of the paragraph tags, and then we'll just do the font. Font family is Georgia, and those should be fine as fallbacks. And then the last thing I wanted to do was adjust the line height. Let's do. So usually, I think it's about twice the font size that works typically pretty well, and that's kind of what we're starting off with. So let's try 2M. I can't remember. So I wanted to figure this out because M's are based off of the parent font size, I believe. So I wanted to see if we can make relative rules for our typography based off of the font size, because a lot of rules in typography are based off of what is the current font size. So I'm pretty sure it's the parent, but I also, let's double check here to see. Okay, so I refreshed and we see that we have Georgia. Let's inspect here. And so the line height is 2M. So what I'm gonna do is, so I know that the font size, it should be 16 pixels because I've just got one rem on there, and I didn't mess with the rems, so it's just the base, it defaults to 16 pixels unless you override it. So it should be the same if we type in 24 pixels. It is definitely not. So yeah, it is the parent then, which would be font size. Let's double check. Font size 2M. Interesting. Well, I'll have to figure out a different way of doing that then, because yeah, 2M was way too big. So that's one of those things that I'm like, it could be really cool, but I just don't know how it is pulling from like what specifically is that M referring to. So anyway, it's obviously not, it's definitely not the P tags font size, because then it should have been fine. Well, yeah. I guess 16. Oh, wait, hold on. It was, that was right. So this is not twice. Sorry, my math is bad. 24, that's like 1.5 rem almost, or sorry, M, because 16 times 2 is 32, and if we subtract 8 from there, which would be half, it's like 24-ish, right? Am I saying this right? Yeah, I think that's 24. So it's actually 1.5 M. So let's try this again and see if when you do the math right, that maybe things actually work the right way. Okay, well that looks correct. Okay, so yeah, if I just want to check that. So I'm going to copy it. Let's do 2M again. Oh, sorry, not 2M. Stop doing that. 1.5. And there we go. Okay, so let's see. I just want to see if I paste it in, is it going to change? No. Okay, well, there you go. So, yeah, you got to make sure your math is right. Did I mention I was a BFA? So, okay, there's that for you. So, okay, well, I could still be wrong about the it's still, I think it still does have something to do with the parent, but I think if 16 is kind of the base pixel, then maybe EM is based off of that 16, kind of like a REM is. And then depending on if you nest it, it could change based on if the parent had, so like if body, I changed the body font size for everything inside of body to be, 100 pixels or something, then 1.5 would obviously be very different off of 100 pixels as your base. So I think that's how it works. I think we're getting away with it because the base, I haven't messed with the font size as like an overall selector or anything like that for anything else. So anyway, that's pretty cool, I think, just because that helps us keep a consistent typographical rule of things. So I think we're safe. That's what I'm saying. That's the conclusion here. So that's a check, right? We did our body text. That's looking good. It's pretty readable. I feel like that's a great. I don't think we need to increase the leading at all. So I think we're safe there. So now let's grab our. Let me show you this. I kind of really like these little downloadable links here because I think that's just kind of a nice, I want this whole thing to be clickable, so you could click way down here. It's just kind of nice to be able to have that large area so that people can actually just grab it when it's just like, oh, I just really want to click on this, and so I think from that's my marketing mind going, hey, this is a great way to get people to click, is make it fun to click. And so let's build this one out first, and we'll do that. First I have to add, I gotta add it somewhere. Let's just do responsive URLs. We can stick on this page. So I'm gonna go up into my resources. I am in tips, and we were on responsive URLs. Cool. So here's the content for it, and what I would need to do, I'm only wondering, just because it might be kind of cool to be able to have this as front matter, kind of like we did with the icon, because then it would be like, here's the link for a PDF, so like, and besides this is, so let me just talk this through for myself. I do think it makes sense to have all of the downloads at the bottom of the page, because first of all, most of this content is going to be very short form, but also because in an email, when you have attachments and things like that, it's going to be at the bottom. So that's kind of what my idea is here. So maybe we will just make it a little front matter, and then we just have a link. So like download, we could even make this be like, I think you can do this where you have multiple. So I'll just put, it won't be an actual PDF. I'm just gonna put this because it's a link. So I'll just say, I don't know, test.pdf, and then we could just try it with 2 just to be safe. We can do like another .pdf. So this way I can test out, can we do multiple download links and then output them both as this little component here. Yeah. So the only other thing is I have to remember how we did those icons. That was in the nav. So, nav item, dev. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. If the page data has an icon, then we can include this little icon. That's kind of weird. How did I do that? Well, I'm gonna copy this snippet. Page data icon. Oh, because it's just an SVG, so I was just outputting it. That's right. Okay. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how that worked. Let's find. Oh, that's not what I want. Oh, okay. That's why. So this was an HTML file. Okay, that's right. All right. So we could still do this. I'm not going to do it like this, but I do think we can create our own little component, kind of like an include, kind of like a nav gets included, but this time it's going to be, yeah, I want to start it. Let's start a file. I'm going to call this a downloadable. Yeah. That should be fine. Okay. I'm going to paste this here. It's not going to stay there, but I just realized that I had pasted it or copied it and I don't want to lose it. So I'm just going to keep this up top just so I have it. But that's not where we're going to leave this. So if I go back to our mockup, we've got a little indicator for the file. And I'm thinking this can just be text that's just transformed as uppercase. Yeah, actually, this is going to be fun. We're going to assume that everything's a PDF. I don't want to have to figure out the logic on how to like strip off the extension in 11D because I'm not sure how that's going to work. I'm too used to my Django, dang it. I wish I could use my Python functions to kind of like, do some of this for me. But I want to keep this as simple as possible. So we're just going to we have our extension, our file type indicator. We have the title. Oh, okay. So this is going to be more complicated than I was hoping. We could just do the file name, the entire file name. I was hoping to cut off the .pdf, but for our purposes, we just need the design to work, right? So we're going to have our title, aka our PDF, probably the whole link, which is unfortunate. And then we have our download icon. So that means I need 3 little segments in our downloadable. So let's just call it downloadable. I kind of like that. It's kind of clear of what that means. We're going to have the file type. Oops. File type. We're going to have the I want to call it a title, but I also want to kind of prepend something to it just because I think title might be used elsewhere, like in the nav. Yeah, I mean, I just don't like downloadables is kind of a large, I guess we can just do file title. So it's kind of similar to its sibling up there. That works. And then the icon. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine to just do icon. So I think I've ranted about BEM and other naming frameworks before, but I don't love them. I'd rather just kind of describe what it is in context and then have everything, basically have this larger parent be the one that's very unique, and then have actually a fairly consistent in inner elements naming. So anyway, I'm gonna go with that. And I'm thinking this is just a really easy flex layout. Let me just double check here. And actually, let me also make sure, do I have that? I don't think I have that download icon. So let's save downloadable. I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna save this. We're gonna go to our, let's see. Oh, it's actually the content. That's right. Where am I? I need my content. So cool. So after the body, actually it's going to be inside of the body, but after the content, this is where we want our downloadables. So if the page data has not icon, but download, did I call it download? Responsive download. Maybe I will just do downloadable just so it can be like consistent throughout. Downloadable. And then we're going to go back up to our content. We're going to fix this. Downloadable. So if the page data has downloadable, then we're going to include our downloadable .html. I think this has to be in quotes. Save. Cool. Now let's go back here. I'm gonna force everything to be PDF, right? So we already know that that was gonna be the case. So I'm gonna do that now just so that we can see something. And then the last thing we need to do is add that SVG icon to our little UI thing here. So I'm gonna create a new one. We're gonna call this downloadable.html. And then I'm going to go back into Illustrator. We're going to grab this icon. I'm going to Control or Command C for copy. And then I can go straight back over to coding. And I'm going to paste that in. Control or Command V as in Victor. And did I do anything else here? Did I get rid of that? I think I got rid of the style. So I think we can get rid of, so we can for sure get rid of the XML thing. I think we can get rid of that. Let me just actually, I mean, I'm gonna just leave it there. I'm just thinking because like the reason why I took it off on all of the other these other icons is actually just because they were gonna have hover states. So whoops, go way too far here. So you can see like this one is white, but normally it's like this darker blue. Maybe when it's highlighted or hovered on, it's kind of lighter blue. So that's why I got rid of all of that information when we created those other icons. But this one isn't really going to be any different. If I had maybe other color schemes, that is something that I had experimented with. I think we can find it over here. This was kind of something I was throwing around, like maybe we have different colors for some reason, maybe for different types, but I couldn't think of any good reason that would actually be necessary, especially for this kind of website. If there was, then you would definitely want to get rid of that style definition just so that you could have control over the fill in CSS. And that makes it so much easier to work with those SVGs. But since we're not going this route, I'm just gonna keep it as, you know, whatever that color was originally right down here. Yeah, this little darker blue. Yeah, let's just do that. We'll keep it nice and simple today. So I've saved this. We have our downloadable. So let's get rid of that and go back over to our downloadable.html. I guess that's kind of, yeah, that is confusing because there's a downloadable.html here. Oops, can't see it right there. And then also in the UI. So I'm going to change the name here. So I'm going to say rename. We're just going to call this download because that's what the icon actually is. Like if you were to see it, you'd be like, it's the download icon, right? So that's, we'll just go like generic, obvious for that name. And that way we don't get confused when we nest these guys. So the icon is always also going to be the same. So we are going to say include the UI slash download dot html. And oh yeah, that's right. We need to make a for loop. So I'm going to do that here in this template. I think that would be the right way to do it. So we want to create a for loop that goes around this entire component, because if we have two, we want it to have one up and then another one, and it needs to have all of this stuff. So I'm going to finish this out for and you know what, I need to double check for loops. Do we have a for loop in here? Okay, cool. Okay, so we do choose a name and then we say in whatever that is, for in. Okay, cool. That's what I need. And we've got right up here for, we'll just say for item. I don't know. I was going to say file, but then I was like, sometimes that's a what are they called? Like a word that's used in 11e. So I don't know. It might be a safe word. I'm not sure. But I'm just going to go with, and I think we'll probably need to say page.data.downloadable. We'll see if that works. I'm going to save this, and then it actually does not look like it worked. So let's inspect this really fast. So at the end of we put it as, so content starts right after the body, and then in our case, so I'm not seeing anything at all. So I think what we did is, let's double check, like, if this is working. Let's do like PDF. I'm gonna save and just make sure that's like outputting something. Does not look like it. Yeah. Okay. So not working just yet. Downloadable, coding, responsive, downloadable. Well, one way around this would be to just bite the bullet and actually make it, so sorry. What I'm thinking is like to actually pull out all of these, this information and put it in here. Dang it. I kind of wanted to have like a loop just so that it would be kind of automatic. Let me... That's where it's always like, again, this is kind of where it's like, you should always overestimate how much time it's going to take. Just because there's like, oh, like I could do this and I have this like vision of how it's going to work. And then I actually don't know how things work perfectly, especially in 11e, because like I said, I'm not by no means an expert. This is probably the most extensive website I've ever built with 11D. So that's kind of where my inexperience with this specific technology is kind of my downfall. So what I can do for now, I'm just gonna pull this out. I'm gonna copy it. We're gonna have this for later. And again, this series is not actually about 11D. It's more about like the design system and the Sass and everything. So I'm just gonna cut to the chase and we're just gonna hard code it for now. Just so that we can actually have something kind of good. So at least this way we get our test, or sorry, not our test, I'm reading. We can have kind of the way that it was originally imagined with, slicing off the extension, making that file type. We have our test title here. That's a little bit more of what I had imagined we would be able to do. Oh, that's nice. It just refreshed, and let me show you what that it's just funny to me when I see things like that, just because that's what happens when we put in an SVG that's very large or has no container restrictions. Anyway, so yeah, we're just gonna hard code it for now. I'm gonna add one more just for fun, just to kind of make sure we have an idea of how things stack. So I'm just gonna save that, and you can see now we have these two, and we only have one icon. That's interesting. I wonder if they're stacking or something. So anyway, let's bust this out now. So we have our downloadable. I'm gonna grab these really fast with multiple cursors, icon. That way I can remember what I did. So I'm copying those, and then I'm gonna go up into our Sass, and this time, okay, it's time for a new component. So we have we don't have too many of these, which is kind of great, but we do need this. It's gonna be a downloadable, right? And that's what our convention has kind of been. And I'm gonna paste that in just so that I have it and I don't lose that. I'm gonna go into our index and just set this up right now so that we have it. Downloadable. Save. And then up here we need to fix this so that they're not mad at me anymore. So let's grab, I'm gonna let's see. Nope, that's the wrong shortcut. Come on. There we go. We're gonna do, these are all classes. This is our main component, and we're putting all these inside of there. And then we'll have our own little declarations inside of all of those. So here we go. Let me double check on the color of the body of the downloadable. So I'm thinking just make the whole downloadable like bar be this background color, but I want to double check to see if we have this already. No, we do not. So this was not in our color section of the design system. So actually, that's a great. You know what? Actually, I will go back through this and pull these out. So because both of these colors might be a little bit different. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So this bar right here, this is the color that I pulled from. This lighter color is currently not in our system. I'm willing to bet this one probably is not either. So I'm gonna copy this and let's go back to our code and let's do a find. It's not finding that. So we know that our file type background color also needs to be added. So let's paste that in, save, and then the title. Oh, and that's right. The file type, I wanted the text transform. I wanted it to be uppercase. no matter what, just so it looks nice, yeah, so that no matter what gets put in there, if it's capital when we cut off the extension, or however that ends up happening, it's always consistent. And then it kind of acts almost like an icon. If we go back over here, it does already kind of feel like an icon, even though it's just text. So that's kind of why I went with that convention. And then we have our title, and then our little icon, which is what size we're looking at. Something like, I don't actually know what that size is. Where am I? It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. It needs to be much smaller than it currently is right here. So let's go into the code. Oh, and the last thing is these both need to be bold. So I do want, I could probably do that hopefully up here. Font weight. We're just going to do bold. And hopefully that captures our PDF file type and also our title. The title probably doesn't actually need anything, so I might just comment it out for a second. And then our icon, we need to make sure that it does not exceed, let's do like 50 pixels at first, just to see kind of where that lands us. And so I'm gonna restart and go over to our Chrome. Refresh. Cool. So we're almost there. This 50 pixels is too large still. It's probably more like maybe a 20, almost maybe even a 15 or something. And then it looks like our bold is working just fine, but we do need to add that flex component or flex style on there so that it works now as a row instead of just stacking. So let's do that. We're going to go up here. I'm going to say display of flex. Cool. And the last thing was right here. Let's try 15. I think that should be good. And then we'll go back over here and refresh. Cool. So now our icon disappeared. We'll figure that out, but we at least have these in rows. That's a good start. Let me pull this up. And let me just double check what happened to our icon. Oops. Yeah, gotta get rid of this here. Max width. Let's increase that back. Let's come back. It does not. Do I need a height of auto? We might. Not sure why. Oh, you know what? Maybe I need an actual width, because these were not. Okay, that's where I went wrong. So since this SVG was very much like, I tried to get rid of all of the styling from it, so that it wasn't like plug and play and it looks. Anyway, there's a lot of like configuration that could come with an SVG, but it definitely does need a width. And so if that's not present in the code of the SVG, then you have to provide it to it in the CSS. So that is what I'm missing. Instead of max width, we actually want a straight up width of 15 pixels, I believe. So let's go back here and refresh everything. Oops. Okay, cool. So that is looking it's probably a little small, but I need to fix the spacing on all of this other stuff to kind of tell. So just as a quick reminder for myself, we're kind of looking at, some decent padding on everywhere. So this one is going to be, actually it's going to be pretty similar. Yeah. So let's do our file type first. Actually, sorry, we could probably put the padding on everything, and then tweak it as needed in those individual things. So let's start off. We're probably looking at like a 1.5 rem on top and bottom, and then maybe a 1 rem on the sides. I'm thinking. Yeah. Let's try that out. And go over to Chrome. Refresh. That's looking a lot better. Our PDF did not scale because I'm just increasing the download. So I'm like trying to think about whether I want that to. That should be fine. We can just match the same padding inside of file type. Actually, we might have to we'll test it out here. I might have to rethink that one in case it's pushing everything out. So I've copied that padding, and I think yep, okay, that's what I was worried about. Yeah, we just basically created a padding around there, so we cannot do it on the downloadable itself, and that's okay. We can just go into here. We're gonna take this out. I'm gonna put it on the width, or sorry, not the width, the icon, and then that's where we need this file title section to come alive for us. And the reason why is we're gonna hopefully fix these little floating squares. There we go. That's a lot better. I am going to have to fix the icon again, though, because the padding is impacting that. So I might actually have to add one more bit of, okay, so let's try this out right here, because I think I can do this without adding extra HTML. Because my thought was, like I need something surrounding the icon now again, but I think let's try it. I'm gonna copy this. We're gonna say add a new, whoops, there we go, icon, but then we're gonna do SVG, and we're gonna say the width is 15 pixels up here. Okay, so that might be all that we need, is just an extra style just for that. And then padding, we do need the padding on there still. Okay, so that's good to know. Get a little prototype session there. Let's see, icon, yeah, we need an SVG tag, and that's where we're going to move our width into, and that way icon is just taking care of the container, and then the SVG will be styled independently, not necessarily independently, but specifically to it. So that should be good. I'm actually going to increase this just to 25 to see if that matches just a little bit more. I might have to adjust the padding, but that's fine. I might do that now, actually. I think it's more of a 1 rem around the what am I saying, the icon, just because if we go over here, it is a little less on top than it is down here in the text. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty close, but anyway, so I just want to make sure it has enough of vertical space to grow, without getting too messed up on the on the padding. Let me just double check. I was gonna do something else. Yeah, so right now we've got like this kind of like pyramid. It's like kind of stacking on itself because that title's longer, and so the icon is all the way next to the words, but I want it to be all the way flush against the right side of this component. So I just need to change this. I think what we can actually do is, we could this is, I believe, what Bootstrap does a lot. Margin left is going to be auto, so that whatever's on the left, it just fills that space basically. So it's going to push it all the way till it cannot go any further. Let's double check that worked, and that's looking a lot better. Perfect. Okay, so that's great. Couple of things to do are, so you can see, first of all, we want to have some space in between these components, so I will add some margin bottom for each one, but we also want to do rounded corners just on this and then just on this side. So we don't want any rounded corners on this line here, and that should be pretty straightforward. So I'm going to go up here. We're going to take care of the stacking first. Margin bottom is 1 rem, and then I want the file type. In this case, we have a border radius on the top left radius, and we can call it, I don't know, we can just do 1 rem for now. And then I will also need it on the bottom left. Sometimes I have to like point. I really do this at work. I'm like, it's the left, the top left. You know, I'm like punching the air with whatever. Anyway, and I always do that with padding or margin styles, where it's always like, okay, top, right, bottom, left, and I have to point them out to remember which, even though it's like fairly, I don't know. Anyway, so anytime I'm adding the 4 values here, I always do that. Okay, so we have that side, and then the only thing we have to do left is the border on the icon side. So yeah, I think we'll want it here. We're going to do border top right this time as 1 rem, and then we'll copy that and do bottom right. Save. Let's refresh. There we go, except that it did not work and we're getting some bleeding. So it might be kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom in at all. So if you see the PDF here, the border radius at that curve, you can actually see a little triangle up right there as well. So I'm gonna have to, I didn't want to do this, but it's probably easiest for right now is actually to move this background color off of the downloadable onto the title and then duplicate it onto the icon. So this is not ideal. I could probably fix this with a little bit better structure, but I just wanted to be pretty fast. Oh yeah, that's gonna mess that up. Okay. Trying to think, how do we close that gap? Do I want to do, I guess I have to do a width of 100%. I don't like doing that, but I think, oops, yeah, I think we'll have to for this case. Yeah, well, that's unfortunate. I don't like to do that, but I do want to, speed things up a little bit. So we're just going to do it, and that is always an opportunity to fix later. And sometimes it's like, you know what? It's like, it's really not that big of a deal because it works, I mean, I love being as correct and like specific as possible. Like, I really want to have the details really well done, but sometimes you just gotta, you just gotta do it. You just gotta do the less ideal thing, and make it work. And then if you ever have time, you can go back and make it look perfect for devs, but I mean, most people just don't really care. So that, I believe that's gonna be, oh, and I wanted to fix, so, okay, here's a cool thing that we're gonna do is, so this, if I go back, let me just refresh everything. Okay, so this is finally looking good, but this border radius is way too much, right? So if we go back to our mock-up here, this is definitely more squared. Like right now, we have a way larger radius than what is here. And I'm not in Figma, so I'm not going to be able to detect the border radius, and I cannot remember off the top of my head how to do that in Illustrator. So other than to mess with it, and I don't want to do that. So we're just going to experiment just a little bit. But what I want to do is I want to stop having to change this 4 times in 2 different style places. So what we're going to do is, this is where we're going to set up our first CSS variable for just the downloadable. We'll call it the DN for downloadable radius, border radius. And right now it's 1 rem, so we know it has to be less than that. So I'm just going to do 5 rem. I'm going to save, and then I'm going to grab this variable, and we're going to replace all of our 1 rems for the radius. And we're going to do var, open the parentheses, and add our DN border radius. And I'm going to do that down here as well for these other 2 border radius calls or attributes. We're going to save. We're going to restart, refresh. And hey, that's looking a lot better to me. That looks pretty close. So we switch back and forth. We're pretty close. I mean, there's still a little bit of different spacing, maybe on the left. And I don't think I changed the font size. Let me just double check really fast. Yeah, okay, it's the same font size. So anyway, I'm not too worried about it. I think that looks pretty close. Switching back and forth, there's that. Maybe it's a little bit tight on the PDF. Like there's a little bit missing space on there. But now we can, first of all, we changed all of our border radius. So let me just go back here and just show you how cool these are. If you're not using these, oh my goodness, they are such lifesavers. Let's just make it like really like crazy. So I'm only changing this one value. I am hitting save, I'm refreshing and going back here, and all of those have been changed to that pill shape. That was 4 style declarations that I could do with just 1 line. So I just really love those CSS variables. And I don't know, it's similar, yes, to Sass variables, obviously, but there is something that I just really like to be able to have that kind of carry through the component itself. It does export into the style sheet. So if you're trying to save on, bits and bytes, to get rid of this and change this to a Sass variable. But I just feel like it's a really easy way to encapsulate it and let developers know, where these configurations are coming from. It's kind of nice. So I'm going to put this back though as 0.5 so that we can see that it can be changed so fast. That is so fast. And yeah, I think we can call it good, because the cool thing is now we have a component. It's easily repeatable. Obviously, I've already got 2 there. The only other thing was we didn't even make this clickable. So let's just do that really fast, just so that we can be absolutely certain this works the way that we wanted it to. Because that's kind of important, is the functionality. Form is great, but functionality has to be there, otherwise it's worthless. So always put your priority to function and then form. I'm gonna put the anchor tag, whoops, come on, guess I don't have my my typical shortcuts when I'm in a markdown file. But yeah, so let's just grab our silly link here. I prefer to put my links around the component, simply because it's first of all, it's valid. You can put this around block level elements, and it also makes that entire thing clickable, and instead of small pieces of it. It really bothers me when you like have a card or something and it's like it looks so clickable, it even like hovers or something, and then you click on it and you like have to find where the cursor turns into a hand. It's just like really frustrating. So there's my rant for that. So I'm gonna just add the same link here around there. So I'm gonna save and go back over to Chrome just to make sure. Oh wow, hey, it's even going on there. That's weird. I think he's grabbing that margin. That's not usually. You know what? Actually, okay, so I'm gonna go back a little bit on what I just said, because right now the margin, I believe, is getting is part of that clickable area, and so there are two ways to get rid of this. So first of all, we absolutely could just put in a class here, and maybe downloadable should be we probably don't even need. Yeah, let me double check what our. Oops. We probably don't actually need it to be its own div, but just in case it does need it had to have that this extra what was it, class here, this extra such structure, we can just add a class and then apply the margin to the link itself instead of to the downloadable. Another way we could do it is, because we've put our padding on everything, I can actually put this inside of the downloadable like this, and let me double check, but I'm pretty sure that will work unless I break everything. It still did not work. Oh, did I refresh here? Still saying that this is. Oh. What? Oh, and this is okay, that's where it is. So sorry. Yeah, I broke it because I broke the flex on it. So this is not ideal, but again, so that just shows you all of the different things that these structural changes dictate. So, but you can see that the margin is no longer, oh, you can't see my cursor, but the margin is no longer activating our hover. It's only when I breach the color section. Whereas up here, my cursor is actually in the white space just below this test title. And then, yeah. So, dang it. I was hoping that would be a really easy one to just show you really fast. But let's pull this back out. And let's just try getting rid of the div here and moving this class onto the anchor tag. Because that should actually still work. Okay, much better. So in this case, this is more of what I was hoping to accomplish fairly easily. This is kind of where you can see some of the structure change, or the structure choices that I made not being ideal, simply because I feel like I don't like to have properties that dictate the container on an anchor tag. So I don't like to have the flex beyond the anchor tag. I don't like to have, basically all of this on that anchor tag. It kind of bothers me just because it makes it a little bit harder to work with in other situations. So again, there's a couple ways we could do it. We could just redo the styles and make sure that this takes on the margin bottom basically. Yeah, I mean that probably is the way that I would do it. So I might as well just do it right now. So let's do up here. I'm gonna say if A has a downloadable, well, actually that's not gonna work. Yeah, I just don't like this. Dang it. What am I trying to do here? We can still put this. Yeah, I just want to get the flex out basically. I don't mind the font being on there. So, okay, I've changed my mind because you know what? Again, it does not really matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this class. I'm going to throw it on to the anchor tag, and we are prioritizing for the sake of shipping because that's what you got to do. So, yeah, now my mouse is directly in between these two, and it is not hovering until I break into the colored section of either the top or the bottom. So that is working now correctly, and that's just gonna be how it works. I'm not too bothered by it because again, we gotta ship and we've got to get this done. So let's do one more. Yeah, let's do our buttons. So we have two buttons. Let me go back over here. We've got our really bright yellow button, and we've got kind of our ghost style button, and then we've got this guy right here. Not really a button, but definitely an external link. I think we can bust out these two. Card, I'm not really sure we totally need. I might skip that just because we've done cards in the past, and that's fairly straightforward. So let's do our buttons and our external link really fast. Go in here. We're gonna create a brand new component. This might be an atom. Yeah, I've already got a button here. Oh, that's right. So we did actually go through this. Ooh, so that's kind of cool. Let's just use this and make sure that it's actually working. So I'm going to change our primary color to that. Let's see. We probably want our yeah, that's a hard one just because reason why I'm thinking about it. So this yellow is really bright, really great CTA, especially with this contrast of the background, but this one is probably more often going to be how it appears. I'm going to call this one the primary simply because I doubt there will be very many of these kind. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of unfortunate because the other button looks a lot better, but this one, and I haven't actually figured out what my primary action would be. My idea with this forward thing was actually like just it's a share button basically, but using the email language. So it's a little bit, it's already a little bit risky calling it forward when it, but again, it's just for the fun of the theme of the site. And so I do think the primary action for this website would be to share online somehow. So like, I don't know what that is, but it could be, share it on So maybe maybe it opens up an email link with the link on there. I don't know. That could work actually. But let's take a look. We're gonna add a button, and I'm gonna change. Let's check out our generator really fast. So our border is actually gonna be the thing that we want. We want to change instead of the background color. So let's just change that really fast. I'm gonna copy this out, put that there. Background color, we're gonna just keep as white, and that way I think the color can just stay the same. Color is also gonna be this background color, because if you'll notice, all of the for this button, everything is the same color. So yeah, oops, there we go. We got our text color is gonna be the same as our border color. I'm gonna save that. We're gonna change this. So let me grab that color really fast. This one, primary is that. Let's just double check if that was there. Oh, it is. Okay, so it is the primary. Am I seeing that right? No. Nope, right there. Oh, hey. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so that'll be one for to remember to put this into a color Sass variable. I'm not going to do that right now, but so what we need to remember is we're doing this is very much similar to Bootstrap, where it's got your .btn as the class, and then it's dash whatever the theme is. So in this case, primary, secondary, etc. So let's go to a content page. We're going to go back to our one that we've been working on, and let's just put in our button. So I'm gonna say I miss my links here. Let's do this. We can do a mail too, just for fun. We'll just say I don't know, j@something.com, some fake email here. And we can even just make it fun, and I think we can output the title, right? So I might be able to do this. Let's see if this works. Let's have the subject equal the title and see if this works. Because that'd be kind of cool to have it like open an email with that title. And then maybe the body would have its page link, but we won't do that right now. But we'll change the class. Class equals btn primary, and close that. And let's save and see what happens. Oh, I did not refresh the server. That's right, because I changed the Sass, but I did not refresh. So let me change that up. What is even happening here? Oh, why is it like looping? Oh, I didn't. Okay, nice one. This is what happens when you get too used to like Emmet and other like other little shortcuts here. I totally forgot to close this, and that is probably our main problem. So I'm gonna put in our text and close the tag. That looks a lot better. And we've created our button. It does not have hover state. Let's see. Let me just double check to see if that was supposed to be. Oh, we did not add one. So this is a cool thing I think about using this like Sass generator kind of style, is that we can add stuff to it and just have it like kind of magically work, it seems like. So let's try adding a hover state. And what I'm gonna do is I'm basically gonna reverse reverse it. So I'm going to take the background color is suddenly going to become the background color, the actual background color. And then the text color is going to be white so that it's visible. Oops. And then I'm going to restart and refresh. And there we go. Now it's got a hover state, and that's pretty cool. We don't have our little icon, but that is okay. I think we can hurry and throw that in. Let's go here. Let's say I just need to grab that icon, so I'm gonna copy it over to our UI, create a brand new, we'll call this the forward.html. We'll paste in our little guy here, little arrow. And I do want to get rid of the styles in this case because we have a hover state. So I got rid of all the color, and that means we just need to do one more thing, which is go back. While I'm right here, actually, let's include our brackets with the percentage sign. I'm gonna say include quote UI / forward.html, close those quotes, save that, and change one more thing. You know what? I'm gonna put this inside of its own. We'll do a span this time. A span tag class equals btn icon. That way we have a lot more control over it in our styles. So I don't want to mess with our. Let's see. I don't want to mess with this too much because I feel like it's already got a really good. What am I saying? Yeah, it's already good. This is what I'm doing. We have a BTN icon, right? So that is going to mimic the same border here. So I'm going to add this. We did have a hover. It just wasn't working, I guess. or actually it's. Oh, let's see if that works. I'm gonna comment that out, and yeah, I think that was supposed to work. Anyway, okay, well, that was some leftover code from a way previous live stream. So I'm gonna get rid of this, and I'm gonna change this to btn icon. Oops, that's a class. And we want it to mimic the same, the fill of it needs to be the same as our color BG. And then on hover, I guess that means we could copy that in there and put it as white. So let's see if that works. I know that kind of made it a little confusing. Let's see if it still works here. The forward is working. That is not changing color, and it's way too big. So I think part of the problem is I think we might actually just need SVG on here. SVG, and so that'll take care of that. And then I just need to add one more level of support here, and I need to change that. So width is going to be, this one probably would be like 20 pixels, somewhere around there. Let's see if that works at all. So I'm going to refresh and refresh. It did not work. Why did not it work? Why did not it work? Inspect. we still having weird? Let's see. BTN icon width. Oh, do I need the SVG on there too? SVG. Yep, that's what I needed. Okay, so we can actually just change this to SVG and then just get rid of this extra style because they both need these. So yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so I wanted specifically the SVG to have that width. I also wanted that SVG to have the fill because those are very specific to the SVG itself. So if I change those couple of things, then we should hopefully see finally our button working the way that we kind of wanted. It is almost working. Phil, why did you not change? I'm very confused why that did not work actually. Hover right there. Hover button icon SVG fill. Oh, interesting. Maybe I did this wrong. Maybe I did the Just trying to get anything to work here. Well, that's really strange. Why did it? I mean, supposedly it's working. Button, hover. I don't know. That's actually kind of boggling my mind. Why is this not working here? SVG? I don't know. I'm just trying to see if there's some way to like force it. That still didn't work. All right, well, that's okay because we can still ship it today. I don't have any actual, I don't actually have anything here to send to. Oh, but interestingly enough, it does seem like the title is working. It probably won't work very, very consistently if I click this because I can see that it did output the title, but it has the spaces in there. I wonder. I'm afraid to click it just in case So for security reasons, I'm not going to click this just because I don't remember how I've set up this specific browser with email, but I can at least see when I'm hovering over it. I've got the little bar at the bottom of the browser. It says mail to, and then the subject is responsive URLs. So it did output that title, which I think is kind of fun. Yeah, so we'll I'll have to come back and work on that. That's kind of cool. But yeah, so I think that's pretty sweet. I think the last thing that I want to do is again get that little tiny component for our this like bookmark type style. And I think we can actually do a lot of stuff that we've done before with the downloadable. So it's very much similar. It just has the icon in a different spot. So let's see what we can do. I'm gonna hurry and add that icon that I just copied. So that's gonna be external link.html. I'm gonna save all that. I want to get rid of. I'm not gonna get rid of this just yet. I'm gonna get rid of the XML. Yeah, I want to keep the styles for now. And let me just double check here. Let's do this. Download. Oh, whoops, I'm in this one. Downloadable. So I think we can basically use the exact same format. We would have to create a brand new include file for it. But again, since we're hard coding these, let's just throw it in. I'm gonna throw it above here actually. So we're gonna need a link, and then we're gonna put in our downloadable. This time the icon is gonna be so actually that's true, it's not really like that's where I'm wondering if we just like make it right the first time, so it's not going to be downloadable. It will be a bookmark. Let's call it a bookmark. I kind of like that. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of this external thing right there. We need a bookmark, and so sorry, I'm looking at this here. So we've got our icon this time on the left, and then we've got our context, if you will, on the right. Yeah, we'll move this up so that's correct. We're gonna change this to external link, I believe we call it that. Yeah, okay. External link, and we don't have a file type, so we don't need to worry about that, but we are gonna have content bookmark content. I think that's okay. But you know what? I am gonna do, okay, I did decide something different. Let's do I want a div here of class. We're gonna do bookmark container. There we go. And we just need a closing div here. Save that. So now we know bookmark is the link itself, bookmark container, icon content. Okay, so let's do this real fast now. Let's grab our component, and we're gonna say it is a bookmark.scss. We have bookmark. Whoops, that is not what I meant. Bookmark. We've got our bookmark container, which has content and an icon. Oops. And I'll put them up here just so it kind of reflects the same structure. This is our link. I'm gonna label it as a link just so that we can keep track of that. Margin bottom is gonna be our 1rem. Save. And I want, let's just fix this right now. The SVG needs to be restrained with the width of, let's do like 50 pixels this time, because it is a larger icon based on the mock-up here. And I don't need to worry about the color just yet. The content is going to be the same as this downloadable. So I'm going to grab that background color. Again, we're going to want to pull this out as a variable so that I don't have to keep having these kind of stragglers outside. And let me just double check. Was there something else? Container is going to be the same. It's going to be a flex. And yeah, let's see. trying to remember what else I needed. Oh, the border radiuses, border radii. Let's get rid of that. It's confusing me. And right here. Okay, so we can start with we can change this to like bookmark border radius, and then just steal these same definitions right here. Top left and bottom left, that would be on the icon this time. And then our border top right and bottom right are going to be on the content this time. I'm going to save that, and then the last thing I needed to do was actually to export or forward this, I guess, so that we actually can access this. And let's restart the server. See if we've fixed that SVG. Refresh. Cool. All right. I did not add any content though, so it's you can't really see it. So let's see downloadable. Where am I? Let me open this up, and then I'll switch my screen so you can actually see coding. Okay. Cool. So content. We're gonna have probably an H2, because our H1 is our page title, and if it's an external link with context, then it's going to be related to that H1, as in I'm not going to put a link about fixing blue links in emails if we're talking about I don't know, template structures or whatever. So it is going to be, I do know that it's conceptually going to relate somewhat to the topic of the page, and it can be its own header. That's totally fine with me. So we'll say bookmark title, and then we've got our paragraph tag with like some lorem ipsum stuff, and we'll call that good. Let's move back over. So here's our beautiful bookmark component. I copied the wrong color as well, so that's always fun. That's kind of why it's nice to have those variables, simply because yeah, if not, then you run into these these silly little mistakes. Sorry, I couldn't find my thing here. So bookmarks, we want a different color. We want this color as our main content color. So I'm gonna get rid of that. We want that lighter color, and then for the let's go back here. We have this dark blue. This probably is in our system, but I'm just gonna copy it anyway, and that will be our icon background color. Oops. Actually, let's just double check, see if it is. Nope, actually it was not. That's crazy. I thought I had all of them all like laid out as a system already, but that's okay. So we have our container. We have this. We want. Oh, the last thing I wanted. Content is gonna have to have that width of 100% again. For now. So let's refresh and see if that looks any better. Okay, it is looking a little bit better. We need to fix padding, and the border radius is not working. Why is it not working? Let's check that out. Inspect here, and let's do oh, DN. That's why it still says the old. So I changed it to BM and not DN. So I'm gonna change all of this. I'm gonna use find, and then I'm using Alt Enter to change all of this at the same time. So BM dash border radius, And the last thing was the padding. So it probably will be pretty similar to our downloadable padding. So let me just grab that. Yeah, I think that should be fine. And we're gonna put this, we're gonna put it straight on our icon and our content again. I think that's just gonna work the best. So let us try this one more time. We're gonna refresh, and hey, that is looking so much better. I think I have extra margin. Yeah, that's right. Or padding. That's right. Padding on my headings. So I'm gonna have to override that. So in here, I'm gonna say, oops, H2 padding top is gonna be 0. And go back one more time, double check, and that's looking so much better. And it is working. I am seeing that my cursor is currently just below it, and it is not hovering, getting that hover effect until I touch the actual color of the container itself. And so that's working really nice. The only thing I think that we would want to do is just make that icon just a little bit smaller, and also change, I need to change the color actually. That's the wrong color. How did that end up the wrong color? Okay, so let's try adding just a little bit. Oh, actually, let's take this down just a little bit. So the width of the SVG is just a little bit too much. I'm thinking maybe like a 35 might work better. And then the color, let's grab this color right here, and let's just edit the SVG itself. So external link, oh, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna do that, and then let's see how this works when I refresh everything. Refresh, nope. Why are you still so dark? Icon, maybe. Well, that's a little baffling. Oh, maybe is it this current color thing? No, that's really weird. I'll have to debug that for why it's not showing up. Why it's showing this icon is so dark. Because it should be the same color as this other side of the component. So let's get this centered up and add just maybe a little bit more padding so that it looks a little bit more like this. We want this to be kind of squared. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go back into our bookmark, and I'm gonna share my screen so you can actually see. Okay. The padding is definitely too, it's not enough on the sides, so we could probably change this to like almost a 3, maybe 3 rem, and the icon itself needs to be changed in its place. So I'm actually I'll probably just change this to a display of flex, and then align. It might be justify. I think it's justify content as center. To center that icon vertically. So let's go back here and see if that fixed all of our problems. That's a lot better. So it might be just a little bit too much. And the other thing, so this is kind of interesting. This is going to be really helpful if you are working with a designer. So this looks centered, but it's not technically. the padding is slightly different on top than on the bottom. And that's because this little arrow extends beyond this larger mass, if you will, if you think of them as having mass. This visual little square, it makes us think that it has some mass, and this also has some mass. And if it were scientifically perfectly aligned, it would end up not being aligned at all. So we can see that in this this one looks off. So if you can see, it's a little hard with that contrast, but you can see it doesn't quite look centered, especially in that vertical space. So it just it's a little bit off. So we actually have to take off a little bit of padding from the top and put it on the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is in our icon padding here, this is where we're gonna say we're gonna do 3 rem. We know that 1.5 rem. So this is our current. Here's that finger pointing thing: top, right, bottom, left. So the top needs to be a little bit less. I'm gonna change this to like 0.25, maybe 1.25, and then I'm gonna add that 1/4 of a rem to the bottom and see if that helps at all with our balance. And let's refresh it. And it is a little bit better. I think I overcorrected too much. So what I'm doing is I'm basically saying, let me go back here so you can see this okay. Instead of looking at the top of the icon, which is actually up here, I'm going to be looking at this top. How does this margin from the top of this square to the top of this square feel compared to this and this? Because these two are the ones that need to be accounted for, not the top of the icon itself, because the top of the icon itself actually includes this. So that's why it kind of gets a little bit off. So there's my little design rant done. Sort of. Yeah, we'll add back in like 1/10 of, or not a tenth, but 1.1 on all of this. I wonder if that might be too much as well. So let's see. I mean, this is kind of the thing with icons that can be tricky, is that visual alignment. Oh, you know what? I think that's really super close. I think that's good enough. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. The only other thing would be the sides. 3 rem is probably too much, so let's go down to like 2.5. Yeah, I think that should be fine. And then we'll go back and refresh. Cool, that looks so much better. Okay. So that looks a lot more like this, other than obviously the contrast. I'm not sure why this icon is not showing the correct. Yeah, I'll have to debug that again on my own time. But I do think we have a pretty solid system. We've got our content kind of figured out. I would be comfortable. I think I would be comfortable launching this today. Yeah, I think, I mean, the only thing that bothers me still is, again, these numbers, the counts don't make any sense. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But I think we're pretty close to a really good, there are still a couple of things, like, for example, I want to be able to have this, these colors extend all the way to the top instead of having this header that goes all the way across. I do need to fix that, but that's not really a design system concern. So I feel like we've kind of accomplished our goal here of creating a system. There are definitely some things we can improve on it, like pulling out those variables, or the colors into variables, because that's going to be an important thing to make sure we have. Maybe going through some of the spacing and making those a little bit more defined. And but otherwise, I think we're in a pretty good spot. We've got all of our cool little components for future use. And we even have our sweet little notification, like visited link. So if I click on that, it's no longer yellow. I think that's pretty cool. So I think we can call this one good. I want to wrap up this project. So thank you so much for sticking with me. If you've joined me on a couple of these live streams, I really appreciate it. And I'm gonna upload this. I think I can do it today. I think I can do it. Please let me know if you want to know more about like the responsive side of things. If we want to go into accessibility, SEO, that kind of stuff, I can start a new series to kind of delve into that specifically with this project, because there are some problems with it, and I think that's a valuable thing to explore. So let me know if that is of interest to you. But other than that, thank you so much, and I will see you around on the next one. Take care.